Welcome to 247 Real Talk. I'm your host, Julian Perry. It's a pleasure to be here with you once again for another episode of the new, revived, redirected, pivoted 247 Real Talk podcast. I hope you had a great week. Mine's still been challenging, and I'm still struggling with my physical therapy since I don't have professional physical therapy anymore. I'm using my gym equipment, and that works out pretty well. But in physical therapy, you have the therapist who actually physically stretches that knee. I no longer have that, and I miss that because although it's painful when they do it, it has enormous benefits. Anyway, I'm back this week. Hope you guys had a great week. Welcome to all my listeners, audio and YouTube. Thank you for new subscribers. I see I got a couple new ones, so I'm appreciative of that. Please continue to like, share, subscribe. This is not a monetized podcast. This is all about the message. And this week's message is going to be a continuation sort of my plight I've been telling you that I'm experiencing at work, but we're going to take it into a realm of the challenges that we face as people, human beings, every day. So sit back, relax, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, still figuring out this board. I wish I had a remote control I could have in my lap and switch the switcher. I had to look into what the possibilities are. Nevertheless, I'm back, and I'm glad to be here with you. 3 weeks ago, I was considering, ending the podcast. A week after that, I got all responsive encouragement, either, no, we need you, keep the message up, we are listening, we are paying attention, or what the heck is wrong with you? Don't you dare quit. Either way, it was motivation for me to be here tonight and to continue to be here having conversations with you. I am so honored, so humbled, and feel so privileged that as I go along each and every week and I record the podcast, and there's sometimes a silence that makes me wonder, even though I see the audio downloads, which are way more than the video downloads, by the way, so please, I need you to share the YouTube version of this. Sometimes people don't interact as much as other times. And people get into a routine, I believe, of this podcast comes out on Friday morning, they listen to it, they go about their day, I'll send a message later never comes. But for me, who's sitting on this side of the spectrum, I'm kind of thinking, well, I'm seeing the downloads or whatever, but their interaction is so much less. Do they really care? And then I had to deal with a lot of the things that are going on politically that was kind of taking this podcast in a different direction and creating an environment that I don't want to. We're about uplifting, we're about love, we're about sharing, we're about empowerment, we're about support. And so last couple of weeks I told you about a situation at work that I'm going through with difficulty with a new boss, new supervisor. And so I'm going to continue the story a little bit this week just to get your feedback on where you are, because I spoke to one of my greatest supporters and he was telling me about his early retirement and the fact that even though his early retirement meant that his retirement income was a bit less, he got some inner peace that he never or was not experiencing on the job. And I can relate to that because this past Monday, I submitted my request for retirement, my notification of retirement. To make a long story short, the date I chose was next year, October. And for two reasons. For one, there's a calculator that they use that on my job I can use that tells me what I would get as my retirement benefit, and since I'm in my 34th year, the going to October next year seemed to make a difference, a sizable enough difference that it was worth it. But it was also important to me to put that date in because with all the struggles I'm going through that are affecting me mentally, emotionally, physically, even my health. I remember feeling a sense of euphoria when I hit submit because there was a target date. I would be staring that date down now of when I would be retiring, and each day, each struggle, each whatever also meant I was one day closer to that date. Within the hour, all my phones were ringing, and it was the human resources at my job calling me to say, "You're a manager. You cannot put in your time over a year ahead of time." Why? Well, because we don't want to keep track of this for a year and something until you're ready. 2, you could change your mind. 3, as a manager, it would be helpful if we knew as you got closer to the date, if you were sure, because of your level of responsibility, we need to give your agency or your people, your coworkers and supervisors and all that time to plan for your departure. Plus, we need to make sure your health insurance and all that's taken care of. So from that respect, I got it, and they're expecting me by this Monday, my next Monday coming, to rescind it. That's sort of bittersweet, right? Because even though that is my intended retirement date, unless something drastically changes, the fact that it's no longer in the system, even though that's meaningless to a certain extent, still takes a level of symbolism away from what I'm striving towards. And then it got me into deeper thoughts. I'm sorry, my eyes are tearing because of my allergies. It got me into deeper thoughts. In my conversations with many people about my scenario, my current situation, many people would say, it's so important to live your life the way you want to on your terms. Several of my friends who have retired who early told me they took a hit. And you got to understand, when you've put in 10 years, 15 years on the job, and you have to leave and you have maybe retire early and you lose some money, that stings. When you put in 34, 35 years in the job and you have just a couple more years to realize the full amount, or to leave early and actually get a penalty, and they make sure that penalty is sizable enough that it stings. It's a hard call. But last week when I was unable to walk, last week when we were seconds away from calling an ambulance, last week when my kids were looking at me and crying because they thought, what's going on with daddy? And I won't tell you, because I can tell you that they had the darkest thoughts, and their tears were created from their imaginations of the worst scenario you could think of. And I thought to myself, where's the value in this life? Is it worth it, me continuing to wake up? I mean, right now I'm in recovery, so I get to work from home for the time being, but I will have to go back to work if I complete my entire stint, my entire tour of duty. Is it worth the toll it will take on you to wake up at 4 o'clock every morning, tired? Because remember, one of the things I've struggled with, and I think I've mentioned this to you before, I've struggled with insomnia. And struggling with insomnia means that for many years, in my case, I can be totally exhausted but can't sleep. And I've gone through so many years in my younger days when I've literally fallen asleep at 3:45 when the alarm went off at 4 o'clock. The rest of the night I spent trying to sleep, and the more you put effort behind trying to sleep, the less you can sleep. Now I'm years older. Now my body has gotten used to with going through my surgery. It's gotten a little relief because working from home, there's no commute. I can still start at the same time, and all I have to do is get up, wash up, walk downstairs to my office, put on the air conditioner, turn on my computer, and I'm at work. Going back to the routine of the commute and the trains and the stage and the subways and walking on the street, after not doing it for not what would probably end up being 2 years at my age, is not a pleasant thought. So what are the options? My wife and I discuss options very often. Discuss the things that I can do, like I have you guys might know, you might not know, I don't really promote it on this channel, but I have a YouTube tech channel where I do mods and reviews and all these things. That's doing quite well. That's a monetized channel. Do I take the risk of retiring early, of leaving possibly $1,000 a month in retirement on the table, walking away, additional dollars, I mean, maybe even more, probably more like $1,500 or $1,600 a month just for that period of time? And I won't go into details why it's so much more, but trust me, it is. And do I take the risk to go do something I love doing, like this, like my tech videos, like all the stuff, hoping that I will make enough money to make sure that I've always got enough for my kids, for my family, for my bills, for entertainment, for taking them out someplace, for living? How do you make that choice? I have to make a confession to you. I've never been a big risk taker. I've never been one who could up and leave a job and say, I'm going to get another one better. And the crazy thing about that is I have friends, I have family who are like that. I know people who have walked away from jobs on the spot, and I am more worried than they are about their well-being. They seem nonchalant, not have a worry in the world. They're like, something will work out. I'll do this, I do that. Next thing I know, I see them again. They're thriving. And they never skipped a beat. And I've always thought to myself, it is the power in the inherent ability they have to take that risk that brings such positivity and power of positivity around them that they have to succeed. Me, I guess when it comes to that type of risk, I'm a bit of a coward. I have walked that conventional, conditioned line. Go to school, go to college, get a job, start entry level, work your way up, keep going back to school, getting more education, getting more degrees, waiting your turn to be promoted. And it worked. I make a great income, but look at it. I'm making that great income at the end of my tour. And I often wonder, when I give others advice, would I tell them to walk the path I have? It's hard. When my children get to a certain age and they say to me, Daddy, if they say to me, I don't want to go to college, what do I say? How do I process that they can actually do something completely different than what we've been conditioned to do for hundreds of years and be successful? We look at many people, entrepreneurs and all these people out there who took a risk and made it. And what's amazing is, if a child were to give you that as an example, look, Daddy, you know what? Thousands of people made this decision. Look at Tom, look at John, look at Jane, they made it. As a parent, you almost will jump out and say, but what about all those who did not make it? Where are they now? It's hard to see so much positivity in the unknown when we've been conditioned to follow a path that we assumed had certain certainty and success in it. But does it? I'm saying all of this to you to tie it together because we are in a time of uncertainty. all of the protections of student loans and all of the things you could have worked towards by paying for a certain time. I think this week, I think this administration also suspended the public service loan forgiveness program. That's a separate episode, because if you guys know, the public service loan forgiveness program was for government employees, for people who did the Job Corps, who volunteer, public servants, and they've now lost that up, that way out, that 120 payments, and the rest is forgiven. So in case you don't know much about the public service loan forgiveness program, just a little tidbit. It's exactly as I said. It was designed to help public servants who remain in public service to help others, to do public service work. And one of the rewards they would get would be this. It used to be 10 years, which is 120 consecutive payments, and then the rest is forgiven. I say used to be because in the period of time where President Biden was trying to get as many people forgiven as possible, he changed it from 120 consecutive payments to 120 payments, period. That made a difference to a lot of people who went to college part-time and stopped and started, and stopped paying and started back again. It was hard for them to meet the consecutive payment requirement. All that is gone now, though. So how do you say to someone? And then remember, a couple of episodes ago, I talked about the fact that this administration is also doing something where the student loans, the responsibility is being put back on the college now. We discussed that. I don't want to go back into that. But there's a scenario there that means that you have to prove affordability. You have to prove affordability to get into college. So if more people of color, more minorities, more people of lesser means will lose a path to higher education in a private university or what they consider prestigious, and who might have to rely on the community colleges and things within their states, and then still figure on getting state aid. What happens when a child of today completely dismisses our conditioning and our conventional way of achieving the American dream or achieving success anywhere, and tells you they want to go out and be a barber? They want to go out and design their own shoes. They got an idea for some device. We kind of want to say to them, well, you can work on that too while you're going to school. But I'm having this conversation again because we need to start thinking from now that higher education may seem like more, or achieving a higher education may now seem in this time more impossible than a large number of our youth becoming successful as entrepreneurs and making enough to make a living that allows them to afford a home and travel and a family and all these things. Things are changing, folks. And this is why it's so important for us to unite. So far, there's very little visible or visual artifacts that suggest that people in this country, people around the world, but let's talk about this great country of America, people are coalescing around the ideology of righteousness and making foundational steps to a positive and successful future. Everyone seems asleep. Everyone seems to be sitting around hoping that the next person will do something that will make the dreams of their children come true by the time they reach of age. We can't do that. We have got to make sure that we nurture them in every way. We've got to make sure that we show them all the possibilities. There are many people who have gone to college and followed the path I followed and are still struggling to make more than entry-level money. It's not uncommon. those who are bold enough to take risks, I applaud you. Especially those who seem to understand the energy of the world, and those who seem to understand faith in a way that if they make the first step, when they put one foot in front of the other, branching out in pure faith, that God will be there to catch them. It's a struggle that I still go through because as a man of faith, I believe that I should be able to make those steps. And that submission for retirement this Monday gone, was my first bold step to say, I will leave early. I will leave money on the table that I earned because I have faith that what I step into next will be more rewarding, not only financially, but in terms of my inner peace. That inner peace that my friend spoke about. When I first started my job, I met a young lady. And she was a co-worker for 20-something years, but she was also a friend. She was kind to me in many ways whenever I needed assistance. She left maybe, 10 years ago, early from the job, on disability. She was having some issues. Today I found out that yesterday she died. She was young. If she was 60, that's a lot. As I contemplated that and her, I kept wondering and thinking to myself, how many people delay taking a chance? How many people delay getting involved and doing something that will make a difference? Either waiting on someone else or waiting till they get to a certain age, or when I retire, I'm going to do this or that. And how many people never make that retirement? 60 years is young. Life has so much time if you are blessed enough with that time. We are living in a time where what each and every one of us does counts for the next generation. What it looks like, how they struggle, what opportunities are available, the opportunities that we decide to sacrifice for today and make, not only for ourselves and our family, but for our community. Those things that we do are part of laying the foundation so that our children can take risks and know that not only we are still there to catch them, but all the things we dreamed about, but if, when, and could, and when we can enjoy life, they can live it and be an example to us, not only as to what we should have done, but be an example to the future as to how breaking the mold, as to how uniting and creating an environment that sustains, that uplifts, that provides opportunities, that provides certain assurances that if you step out there, we will support you. Take this podcast. I reach out to so many people and I let them know that this channel is not monetized. So I'm not reaching out to you saying if you subscribe, I'm going to make some kind of money. That's my tech channel. Hey, go ahead and subscribe to 247 Tech Talk because yes, I will make some money. But here, no. I want people to share, subscribe, and listen so the message can get louder. So we can start coalescing around ideals and ideologies that create a community for us. So that in the struggles that the world will present as the world gets older and closer to its end, will not be so impactful on us because of race, creed, color, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, etc. I, at my age, at my 34, going on 35 years in my career at one place, and I had jobs before that, Monday was my first risk. So close to the end, so close to the edge, so close to simply saying, put your health at risk, try your best, go back in when you have to, wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, endure, and the day will come when you will meet full maturity and you will get your full pension. Means nothing if those years are filled with unhappiness, with struggles, with health challenges because of that environment, and take away from what's left of my life when the time comes. It might be a little step to others, but it was a big one for me. I'd love to hear about your risks that you've taken, about your fears of taking a risk. Maybe there's someone else in our community out there that says, what do you want to do? You want to build a building? I'm a contractor. Let's build this community. I'm going to help you make sure that you can enjoy what you want to do. I'm going to help you make sure that you can live out your dream, because we're going to join forces and do this together. We must unite. We are being ripped apart. The tapestry that was once this great nation, and once this great generation, and once this great humankind. We must be proactive. It is not enough to listen to this episode, to shake your head in agreement, and then close your computer or flip to the next screen and wait till next week and do nothing in between. Either put some thought behind what you can do to make a difference. Contact me, podcast at 247realtalk.net. Let's keep talking. Let's make the conversation louder and bigger so that we can actually create something. And if it's a week that you're too busy, then at least like, share, encourage others to subscribe so we know that the next conversation we have, there are more people listening than the last. Always a pleasure to speak with you. So thankful to have you here supporting me. And every time I buckle or find a moment of weakness, you are there to help me, to lift me, to empower me. You remind me that I must always remember who I am and whose I am. For me, I will stand tall. I will fight my anxiety, my fears, my everything. Because I need to be there for my children, and I need to blaze a path for their future. And no matter how sizable it is, because of who I am, and because of whose I am, I know I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Until the next time, please take care of yourselves and each other.